Hi everybody. So in this video we'll be seeing what if Joe Biden able to increase his support by 5%. I will do a video for Donald Trump too.
Close the door.
I'm gonna go close my door. I would also be doing one for 15%, 10%, 5%, and 1%. 1% might not really have any much change, but still. Actually, I'll only really be doing 1% for Donald Trump because there were no states decided by less than 1% for Joe Biden, so it's basically irrelevant. I'll do it if you guys want. Anyway, first we can go from safe, likely, and tilt. So in 2020, so basically my margins are 15 points and above a safe margin. So in the 2020 presidential election, Washington, Oregon, California, actually not New Hampshire, May's 1st Congressional District, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and DC. Democrats at 130. Hawaii puts them at 134. Illinois puts them at 154. New York will put them at 183. And I believe we're done. And I would think you guys, if Joe Biden was able to increase by 20%. Basically, this is every single Democratic state because Joe Biden won. The state Joe Biden won the least by is in Georgia, like 0.24%. Add another 15 to it, you get 15.24%. And pretty much every Democratic state is more than Georgia, so Georgia will not be. So Georgia will first. And now the United States, first we can add Maine at large, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, or SLO as I like to call it, New Mexico, Colorado. I believe there is still another state. 306. Hawaii has already been capitalized. I'll just come back to it later. Oh, of course, New Hampshire. It can go to the likely Democratic states. I believe one of them is Kansas, which it was the first time since 1916 where Kansas voted to the left of Missouri. Because if you subtract 14.6, if you take 14.6 divided by 20, you get 5.4. Missouri will be less than 5%, so since, it's already more than 5%. Since Missouri voted Republican more than 15%. Anyway, so Missouri, although we are going to characterize that way. Ohio and Iowa basically Ohio and Iowa are also likely states for the Democratic Party. Because if you can do let's do the math here. Iowa and Ohio are basically the same, so 0.1% won't make too much of a difference. So I'm going to use the margin in, I believe, Iowa? Could be Ohio, but either way, 8.1 minus 15. Basically 15 minus 8.1, but I'll just add a negative number. 15.0. Okay, so 0, 10, 14, 6.90. I may have done the math wrong, but either way, it makes sense. So Ohio and Iowa both Democratic likely states. And of course, if we're talking about likely Democratic states, I believe Maine's 2nd congressional district. Okay, we can check these 3 states. Ohio 8.2, Iowa 8.2. And if you don't believe me, we can check. Wait a minute. 15. Even if it's 15%, it's so. This is 20%. So 8.2 minus 20. 11.8. Wouldn't really do anything because my margins are 15 points and above. Ohio, basically the same thing, except it would be 11.9 or 12% almost. So, Maine's 2nd congressional district. Maine is basically back to what it was in the 2012 Obama administration. Maine at large 15%, Maine's 1st congressional district in the 20s, and Maine's 2nd congressional district around 7%, 8%. So the next state will be a very big state. It would be the state of Texas. 5.5. Is that really possible? We're going to open up the calculator. 5.5 minus 20. 14.5. That's very close. In fact, we can check Texas. Yeah, 5.5%. So Texas hasn't voted Democratic since 1976. Last time, it barely voted Democratic with Carter. Sorry. Okay, so the biggest prize for the Democratic Party and the biggest loss for the Republican Party. Since Virginia actually used to be a Republican state, Bush won it by a lot. Reagan won it by a lot. Of course, Reagan won pretty much every state except Minnesota because it just had about 0.18 for Mondale. Okay, so if we're talking about Texas, Florida and North Carolina would also flip. Florida was decided by 3.3%. I believe Florida and North Carolina would both be safe Democratic states. North Carolina, I'm pretty sure. I mean, come on. Like 19 percentage points is more than enough. Florida, I feel like a big list, but just barely. Okay, so 3.3, I believe, minus 20. 16.7. Close-ish? And we can also check North Carolina. 1.3 minus 20. 18.7. Yes, that would be enough. And this would make Joe Biden reach above 420. Almost 420. The next state that would flip would be a state. Well, this isn't really a state. It's a congressional district. Nebraska's first. Nebraska's first congressional district would be. In fact, we can check. 20 minus exactly 50% equals 5. And since the rules are 14.9 to 5, we are going to characterize Nebraska's first congressional district as likely. barely makes the cut, but still makes the cut. Meanwhile, same thing with Alaska. Well, 10 minus 20 equals negative 10, so it would flip. In fact, we can take a look at all the states that flip. Florida, North Carolina, Maine second, Ohio, Iowa, Kansas, Texas, Alaska, and Nebraska's first congressional district. The next state that would flip would be the state of Montana, only voting 16.5, I believe, points. Indiana was 16, and Montana was 16. Oh yeah, 16.3. 4.7, or no, 3.7. 3.7, making the state a lean Democratic state, less than 5%. Indiana is 16%, so 4. Joe Biden will win the state by 4% in this scenario. Joe Biden is increasing his total by 20%. In fact, this would be one. In fact, right now Joe Biden has a larger lead than Obama. He's won every single. I believe he's won every single state Obama has won, and even a few more. But the states of Montana, Texas, Alaska, Kansas, Georgia, Arizona, Indiana, Nebraska's first congressional district. He won North Carolina once. It was never taken in 2008. So he has a lot more electoral votes than Obama did. The rest of these states, I believe, would not flip. Actually, Utah would, although, since we are going into the likely Democratic states, in fact, why don't we just characterize some of the likely Republican states? Solid Republican states. That would be the state of Wyoming, the most Republican state in the nation. Keyword Republican state. The most Republican part would be in Nebraska's 3rd congressional district, where Donald Trump won by 53.2. It was even larger in 2016, 24.2. Donald Trump did very good in Nebraska's 3rd congressional district. So that state would basically stay the same. North and South Dakota. North Dakota would be around 10-point margin. South Dakota would be 16. Wait. Yes, 10-point margin. No, 6.2. I believe it would be a likely Republican state. Almost doing as well as Obama did in these states. In fact, we can look at Obama. He brought the states down to likely margins. Those margins were single digits. In fact, look at Obama. Montana was pulled in late in the night, I believe. Missouri was called late in the night. North Carolina had flipped. Virginia had flipped. Colorado had flipped. New Mexico is no longer a swing state. Nevada was a leaning Democratic state, prior Republican state. Look at this. And we forgot one state. Michigan was decided by 16%. Wisconsin did not take days to be called. Pennsylvania did also not take days to be called. Indiana had flipped of all places. And I believe Democrats actually gained a House seat in Idaho's, one of Idaho's districts. I believe it was the 2008 House elections. Look get this. They flipped a seat in Idaho. You heard me right, Idaho. You saw this right, Idaho. One of the more Republican-leaning states. And look, North and South Dakota, of all places, will stay Democratic. Stay Democratic. In fact, the Republicans barely gained in Louisiana, Texas, and Florida. The Dakotas were Democratic House seats. Idaho had flipped. In fact, we can even look at the 2016 Senate results. Trust me, these are a different story than this was the election. Look, the Democrats in fact, this was the election that turned Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico, all Democratic states. It made North Carolina way more competitive. It made Oregon way more competitive. In fact, just in the election before 2008, it barely voted for Kerry. 0.44% for Gore. Okay, so I agree 1992 and 1996 are the best. Look, this used to be a Democratic-leaning state. Now it's a Democratic state. The Democrats won 6 Senate seats. 8. Not even 6. 8. 8 Senate seats. Okay, we're getting a bit off topic here. We're focusing. Okay, and I already said we'd come back to Missouri. We're coming back to Missouri. I believe, yes, Utah would be decided by 0.5%, so it seems less than 1. I believe Idaho would be decided by around 10%. Yes, 10.7. Look at this electoral map. We're not even done yet. West Virginia, pretty much 18 points, so the Republicans would win the state by around 19 points. So that would be enough to win. So we see all of this blue. If Kentucky goes blue, we just see an ocean of red. We see an ocean of blue with the red in the middle. It's usually an ocean of red with the blue in the middle. Well, that was the case in Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. Look at all of this red surrounding it. All of it. From South Dakota to Kansas. From Nebraska's 3rd to Iowa. Anyway, we will see a flip in South Carolina. Because if you take 11.7 minus 8 by 20, you get negative 8.3, so a flip. So, South Carolina would be a likely Democratic state. So we see here the majority of things are safe Democratic. Because remember, every single Democratic state, and even Florida and North Carolina, only a few states are likely Republican. And here's the thing, the Republicans will probably be shedding voter fraud in this election. Why? If this was going to happen, the Republicans would be able to shout voter fraudish. Why? Because 92.15 plus 20%, Joe Biden would have won 112% of the state, and would have won the state by 106.7%. That is not possible. Like, not possible at all. Anyway, now we have the Sunbelt. Now we have the Sunbelt Deep South, and this, which is very Republican. Well, maybe not now. Kentucky decided by 25.9 minus 5.9. 5.9 points for the Republican Party. Oops, I'm gonna flip back to Michigan. Wait, Michigan's not a toss-up state. Republicans would win Kentucky by around 5.9%. Mississippi would flip, being only 16.5%, and you know the drill, 16.5 minus 20, 3.5, lean state. If we can calculate Nebraska at large, this would actually flip, because Nebraska at large is 19 points. So I believe it would flip. This is the first time. I feel like the last time Nebraska's at large flipped was, I believe, in 1964 in the landslide. In fact, Goldwater won all of these states. If he was still alive today, he wouldn't be happy in how Donald Trump would have lost the states of Arizona and Georgia, and made South Carolina sort of competitive-ish. Not really. 11 points isn't exactly competitive. Although we have seen some states like flip, like there were 11 points one election and flip in one. I'm gonna see if that was. Oh yes, we could see West Virginia flipped. Okay, wrong. Look, West Virginia shifted 15.3. Look. Okay, so I'm pretty sure Maine is weird. Apparently it votes for a candidate. Apparently in 2 congressional districts it votes for a candidate 100%. Yeah, at large only 8.6. Talking to you, 1992. In fact, the last time Democrats won in the Deep South, okay, not including Florida and Georgia, because, you know, prior to 2020, the last time that they was, I believe, in 1992, winning Arkansas, Louisiana, and being competitive in Alabama and Mississippi, almost winning the state of North Carolina, and making South Carolina kind of competitive. Anyway, we're going to talk about 2020. Okay, so Alabama would have a 5.4%. Republican would win the state. Oklahoma, 11 points, so they still win the state. So I don't think, even if the Republicans win all of these states, they still wouldn't even crack 100. Tennessee, 3.2 for the Republicans. So this is the first lean state for the Republican Party. 7.6. And Louisiana. This would be a flip. Remember, Louisiana only did like 18.6. So bring up the calculator. .6 minus 20 equals negative 1.4. So this would be a flip. So analyze the electoral map now. There are 350 electoral votes in the safe Democratic column, 82 in the likely Democratic column, 40 in the lean Democratic column, nothing in the tilt Democratic column. There are 9 electoral votes in the safe column for the Republicans, 40 likely states for the 40 likely electoral votes for the Republicans, 11 from Tennessee, 11 electoral votes likely for leaning for Tennessee, and 6 tilted Utah. So in order for the Republicans to win this, they need to win every single lean state, every single likely state, which, come on, a state that is decided by 10 points isn't probably going to flip unless the candidate who won it was very popular and the other candidate wasn't exactly as popular. Into you, Reagan and Bush. Although some cases, the exact opposite happens. Talking to you, Kennedy and Johnson. Anyway, so, and then they still would win. They would need to win some electoral votes in the safe Democratic column. So they need to win this to win. Anyway, so this is the final electoral map. Take a picture of it. I won't watermark it, so take a picture if you want. If you want me to change the style, I'll change the style. Rescale, terminal, white, contrast, metallic, media. In fact, I kind of like the pie simulation, and hey, cool. Terminal looks kind of cool. Black background, yeah, white cup, like white border. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Bye, see you next time.